One Zambia, one nation. A warm welcome to Zanis News. I'm your presenter, Mwangala Kapandola. We take you through the headlines. Farmers appeal for speedy distribution of farming inputs. DMMU rehabilitates health post. Poor workmanship at Solwezi Stadium ex NCC. Anthrax breaks out in Kazungula. Now the news in detail. Farmers in Mongo District in Western Province have appealed to government to speed up the distribution of fertilizer to allow them enough time to prepare their fields. Mongo District Agricultural Coordinator Christabel Kakumbi has urged farmers to stay calm as government is working hard to deliver the inputs to all farmers on time. Lavering Sitizia has the details.
With the onset of the rains in the country, some farmers are worried that they might be affected by the late delivery of inputs for the 2022-2023 farming season. In Mongo District, farmers have appealed to government to speed up the distribution of the remaining 150 metric tons of urea.
Preparing the land before having the inputs. We don't know how much inputs we are going to be given. On behalf of the other farmers, we are just appealing to the government that if they can kindly speed up with the inputs, because up to now, we haven't yet received any input.
The farmers also want government to consider putting back some literals on the FECIP program.
So we are still waiting and appealing to the government if they can do something for us. And even concerning the retirees, some of the retirees are getting very little pensions. They are getting less than 500 kwacha.
Meanwhile, Mongo District Agricultural Coordinator Christabel Kakumbi has appealed to farmers to exercise patience.
So the input status in the district currently is that we have received 150 metric tons of D, which is the full package. So what we are waiting for now is another 150 metric tons of urea. We have also started receiving the seed, and so far we have only received Zambezi seed, that is 2.4 metric tons. And I believe within the course of the week we should receive more consignment of seed and probably even to the fertilizer that is remaining.
Lavering Caesar reporting for Zanis in Mongo, Western Province.
In Northern Province, Provincial Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu has commended the International Labour Organization, ILO, for extending its support to the education sector in the region. Mr. Mpundu says government recognizes the various activities that ILO and the entire United Nations UN system in Zambia is implementing to supplement its effort. Ntazanga Nakavizia has the details in this report.
It is evident that education remains among the top priorities of the New Dawn administration. This is why government has continued to collaborate with partners supporting the education sector. The International Labour Organization, ILO, is one such partner, and ILO Country Office Director George Okuto has visited Kasama for official engagement with stakeholders.
For Kasama, we have selected the education sector. It's a sector that we really need to interact more with. So education is that sector that lays the foundation on which Zambia will stand for the good of everybody. We've shared a lot of ideas.
Northern Province Permanent Secretary Bernard Mpundu has commended the ILO for its work in the province.
The President and Government of the Republic of Zambia is on record that education is an economics.
Yeah.
So it is important that you help us to ensure that we prepare our children well enough to face the challenges of the world tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Provincial Education Standards Officer Rin Kamanga has called for the development of vocational skills among learners.
If children learn skills indoors, they will be able to stand on their own, regardless of them leaving school at whatever level of our education system. For a very long time, we've just been looking for white-collar jobs, where children finish, they're going to go into law, doctor, or in the bank, because they felt those are well-paying jobs. All those are examples we're giving our children, and we want to develop those vocational career pathways more.
Tazanga Mumba for Zanis in Kasama.
And in Central Province, poor operation and maintenance of water supply facilities has forced communities to resort to using unsafe water sources. Provincial Permanent Secretary Miuna Mwanakampwe has since called on the water supply and sanitation subsector to ensure appropriate measures are put in place to address the water challenges. Here is a report.
Poor operation and maintenance of water supply facilities leads to poor access to water and sanitation services. While some drill bores, many people with poor access to safe and clean water resort to unsafe water sources, which are the main sources of waterborne diseases. Central Province Permanent Secretary Miuna Mwanakampwe has called on local authorities to take an initiative to work on the frequent breakdowns of water services equipment such as hand pumps.
The access to water supply and sanitation for rural areas as it stands now stands at between 57 and 37% respectively. My leaders, the low access levels, especially for water supply, can be attributed to poor operation and maintenance of water supply infrastructure. And this therefore calls for concerted efforts from all of us here. First of all, we must take ownership and agree that at some point we succeeded as a team, we may have failed as a team, and therefore it is important that we raise as a team and resolve and agree that together we're going to make.
Mr. Mwanakampwe wants stakeholders in the rural water supply subsector to adhere to guidelines of operation and maintenance as formulated by the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation.
I wish to state that in order to address these frequent breakdowns of water points, your government, our government, the people's government, through the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation, formulated operation and maintenance guidelines to ensure sustainability and attainment of universal access to clean and safe water.
Provincial Water and Sanitation Officer Chimba Mkuka explains some of the strides that government has taken on sustainable provision of clean and safe water to the rural population.
The province was given 120 new boreholes, distributed as 10 in each district. It's only Mumba that will receive 20, and then the remaining districts are expected to receive 10 boreholes each. So in this project, we are expected to do the geophysical surveys, drilling, and the actual equipping of the boreholes.
Daniel Billy reporting for Zanis News in Kapirimposhi, Central Province.
In health news, the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, has handed over a health post in Nalolo West Bank, which has been rehabilitated at a cost of over 50,000 kwacha. DMMU Regional Coordinator Namukolo Kamona handed over the health post, which has had its roof blown off last year, and also urged communities to be alert to disasters. Sefue Mangala reports.
Disasters do not only disrupt normal functions of society, but they are also costly. This is because the damage caused to infrastructure and environment demand proper management and response for them to get back to normal. The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, under the Vice President's Office, has renovated a health post whose roof got damaged due to heavy winds last year at a cost of over 50,000 kwacha.
In our definition of disaster management, we say that the community, if they are able to help themselves, then we leave it at that level. If they're not able to help themselves, then we call for help. In this case, we had to ask for help from Lusaka. So meaning that we started with a facility here, and you were not able to help yourself, then you ran to the district office, Yabo DC. The DC also forwarded that to the regional office, and we forwarded that to the national level, and they gave us the resources to enable us to rehabilitate this structure. If we are conscious about the risk factors which surround us and do something about it, then we'll be contributing to disaster risk reduction.
District administration in Nalolo is elated over the response by DMMU towards the rehabilitation of the facility.
I therefore would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the Permanent Secretary as well as the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unity, DMMU, for coming to our aid at short notice when health provision at Liliachi was disrupted. Let me make mention that the facility since its inception in the year 2000 has never undergone any form of serious rehabilitation.
The Health Advisory Committee, HAC, is also happy for the successful rehabilitation of the health facility, which has since enhanced provision of health services in the area.
Disaster management team babasika likali kanibwa na kuzusa mali asaba utuwe kuteta unobuwezi basi bakakwami miru meakuli muso usikwa katala uzole pili.
Sifue Mwangala, Zanis News, Nalolo District, Western Province.
In Southern Province, Macha Girls Secondary School in Choma District has started constructing a dormitory financed by Constituency Development Funds, CDF. School head teacher Christopher Mulea says the CDF is also assisting 39 pupils with bursaries as well as supporting the operations of the school. Here's a report.
Macha Girls Secondary School in Choma has held a graduation ceremony for its outgoing grade 12 pupils. The occasion was characterized by sketches and cultural performances by the pupils, while some learners were awarded for outstanding performance. Among those graduating were beneficiaries of the CDF bursary who have expressed their gratitude to government for the support.
When CDF came in, it was like a burden lesson. It lessened the burden on my parents. At least the thing they had to manage was only the grocery part, the pocket money. And when you look at the major thing, it's the school fees. Because without the school fees, you can't come to a boarding school. You can't go to school. So since the CDF covered up that point, then everything went well. I just thank the government for what they have been doing.
I was put on the CDF in grade 12 term 1, which helped me to study more and focus more on my studies. Living with a single parent isn't easy, and that has helped me a lot because she only has to stress about things of my trunk, my pocket money and all that.
The funds have also improved operations at the school.
Those that are on CDF bursary, so far we have about 39. The payments have helped us in a bigger way, especially that as Macha Girls, we are into construction, we are building a dormitory, and when they pay in bulk or at once, that money we spend it on the construction of the dormitory. Also administration, we are able to buy stationery on time, cleaning materials on time, and part of it go to boarding to feed these young girls that we have here.
Runia Sakala, Zanis, in Macha, Choma.
In Luangwa District Council, together with the Constituency Development Fund CDF Committee, are disappointed with clubs that received funding but have not followed CDF guidelines in implementing the projects. More in the following report.
Luangwa District Commissioner led a team of Constituency Development Fund CDF committee members and some district heads of departments to monitor the implementation of projects by beneficiaries of CDF grants in the district. Both the district commissioner and the council chairperson expressed disappointment that most of the beneficiaries have changed the type of project they applied for and ventured into a different project, abrogating the CDF guidelines.
It's for your own benefit, your own families. But let's do the right thing. Instead of going ahead and sharing the money, that we will not allow.
Under the new Dawn government, they've put in a lot of money so that they see these people to, to get up to that height of maybe trying to alleviate the poverty. But if we don't just put our foot down, we are afraid this may not yield any results.
The beneficiaries had difficulties to explain their side of the story. The CDF chairperson, Derek Kashinamirunda, and the council secretary, Stephen Malenga, emphasized the importance of the funds.
We want them to stick to the project that the core business that they had applied the funding for.
When the government gives you that money, you need to ensure that you put it into good use, so that others also can be motivated.
There is need for intensifying sensitization if the Constituency Development Funds, CDF, is to achieve its purpose of fostering development in local communities. Lista Ndumba, Luangwa District.
Action Aid Zambia has empowered community facilitators with bicycles for climate change mitigation activities in Senga Hill. Northern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mape handed over the bicycles and certificates to the beneficiaries. We have the details in this report.
Climate change has brought about extreme weather conditions leading to flash floods, droughts and increased temperatures. And as part of its contribution towards fighting the adverse effects of climate change, Action Aid Zambia, with support from World Bicycle Relief, has procured bicycles for climate change mitigation activities in Senga Hill and Pulungu districts of Northern Province. Northern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape officiated at the launch and handing over of bicycles and certificates to community facilitators at Tanzuka Day Secondary School in Senga Hill and Viamba area in Pulungu district.
I just want to take this time and this opportunity to thank Action Aid Zambia for partnering with government in supporting climate change activities in the Northern Province, particularly in Senga Hill and also in Pulungu.
Musonda Kabinga is Acting Country Director for Action Aid Zambia.
The total cost for these bicycles is 415,454 kwacha. The raincoats and the gumboots cost 24,961,000. Our facilitators have to be equipped because of the work ahead them that is massive and important. Climate change has become a topical issue in this world today. To that effect, guest of honor, we can see the devastating effects of climate change.
And community facilitators are happy with the gesture by Action Aid Zambia.
With the aid of the bicycles, we will be able to easily move to our respective project areas without difficulty.
Some of the visible developments Action Aid International has achieved in both Pembe and Chimika wards are: one, rehabilitation of George Komangombe Primary School, donation of Tino equipment at Tanzania Health Post, donation of mattresses at Chifunta and Tanzania Primary School.
Helen Bwalia for Zanis in Senga Hill District, Northern Province.
Thank you, Helen, for that report. Still in the news, the Media Network on Child Rights and Development, MNCRD, has embarked on training children under its Child Agency program to promote participation in development. MNCRD Executive Director Henry Kawe says the training is aimed at empowering children with media skills so that they get involved in advocating for equitable distribution of development both in rural and urban areas. Rita Kabindama has the details in this report.
The Media Network on Child Rights and Development has embarked on training children under its Child News Agency program to promote their participation in national development. Media Network on Child Rights and Development Executive Director Henry Kawe says the organization has trained 11 children from 4 schools and 4 journalists, both from private and public media in Lukulu district.
We in Lukulu district to launch a program that is supported by the Commonwealth Foundation to ensure that we promote child participation and ensure that issues of rural areas are well covered in our country. because there is a discriminatory kind of development in our nation, where it comes to making sure that resources are brought to rural areas, are the same as those are brought to urban areas. We have vast constituencies in rural areas which receive the same amount with the smaller constituencies in the already developed urban areas. So we were training the children with media skills to see how they can involve themselves in advocating for equitable development projects by government to both urban and rural areas. And we have also talked to the media in Nakuru district just to make them understand the need for them to get involved and report more about development in the district, so that we can be able to ensure that there is quality health services, and also the environment is protected from any form of climate change issues. So we need to ensure that we bring together journalists and children and other players for them to be able to participate in this program.
The children have expressed excitement and had this to say.
I also learned about climate change. We learned that climate change brings a lot of effects to our human rights and also to children's rights.
The training today has been so educational to me, as it has educated me on a lot of topics such as child's rights, as well as climate change, since these topics tend to be neglected in our society and they're not taken very seriously.
Meanwhile, journalists in the district have welcomed the move made by Media Network, provoking the media to be alert on developmental issues in the district.
So this program that we have had today, it will add more to our content, more especially when we are to deliver information to the public.
Yeah, the training was very good, especially it was centering on the welfare of children that we have in Nakuru. From my angle, I think we are going to give knowledge or to give information to the children and also to the communities that we have in Nakuru.
Rita Kabindama, Zanis, in Nakuru district.
An outbreak of anthrax among wildlife has been reported in Kazungola district in Southern Province. District Veterinary Officer Cliff Kakandelwa disclosed that the disease has been reported in Isikaonzwe Veterinary Camp among buffaloes. Dr. Kakandelwa further stated that suspicious cattle death has also been reported in Kasaya area in the district. He warned that anthrax is a deadly bacterial disease that can be transmitted from animals to humans. Dr. Kakandelwa says measures have also been put in place to control the further spread of the disease. He explained that no livestock product or animal byproduct will be allowed to move out of Sikaonzo Veterinary Camp, and that all livestock product or any animal byproduct transiting through the infected area should be under veterinary escort. Still in Southern Province, German parliamentarians are happy with the prudent utilization of donor funds under the Scaling Up Nutrition Phase 2 Project SUN, which are meant to reduce stunting in children in Monza district. Hermann Faber, member of the German parliament and chair of the Committee on Food and Agriculture, also called for more efforts to improve the nutrition status of more than 35,000 beneficiaries in the district. More in the following report.
Visiting German parliamentarians have pledged continued support to the government's efforts in scaling up nutrition SUN 2 project in Monza district. During a tour of the project in Manungu Ward, members of the German parliament also acknowledged efforts made by the government and its cooperating partners aimed at reducing stunting levels, currently at 25.7% in the district.
Sehr positiv beeindruckt, wie die angebotenen Hilfen hier sehr erfolgreich umgesetzt werden.
Has been implemented very successfully.
Wir haben gesehen, dass alle Hilfe, die aus Deutschland, die aus Europa und von der ganzen Welt kommt, hier sehr gut angelegt ist.
Has been invested well here.
Die Menschen hier sind auf einem guten Weg. Sie haben aber noch große Aufgaben vor sich.
Still there are great challenges ahead of them.
Wir wünschen den Menschen hier alles Gute und werden sie auch weiterhin nach Kräften unterstützen.
And we will continue to support them as best we can.
Dankeschön.
Thank you.
District Director of Health, Dr. Gocho Kapova, who represented government, urged beneficiaries of the San2 project to take it seriously to achieve desired results.
Currently, our starting prevalence is at 25.7%, and we're hoping to reduce it to 18.7 by 2023. We have a large number of beneficiaries, about 34,041 households. We hope that our members here will take it upon themselves and make the program theirs, even when San2 is not there in the future.
Frederick Macha for Zanis in Monza District, Southern Province.
Still in the news, National Council for Construction Board Chairperson Vitalis Moya has expressed disappointment with the quality and pace at which rehabilitation works is being done on the Solwezi Stadium. Mr. Moya, who inspected the project, is dissatisfied that only a perimeter wall has been done. FIFA funded the rehabilitation of the stadium at a cost of 300,000 United States dollars. Join Jennifer Mutoshi in this report.
Among the 5 stadia being rehabilitated countrywide, Solwezi Stadium was the first to be commissioned for rehabilitation works by the government. However, since its commissioning in January 2022, the 300,000 United States dollars FIFA-funded project seems to move at a snail's pace, and the quality of work leaves much to be desired. The National Council for Construction is in the district to inspect the project and are not impressed with the work.
The completion period was 6 months, starting last year. This should have finished in January. Now we are into injury time, typical way of handling things in Zambia, which I think the new dawn. And the 3 pillars, timeliness is one of them. Yes. We want to avoid this.
In terms of quality, we actually noticed on some portions of that are being plastered at the stadium, I think that should be the ablution. I think probably the contractor could have missed just to interpret the mixed ratio for the plaster. And we are wondering where was the consultant in that regard.
The safety of workers on site is also another issue of concern.
That's a legal requirement that safety is observed at every site. You can see we have got the full attire. So we expect that every contractor, because they always put these in their statements as they bid for these works. So what we'll do as NCC is to ensure or enforce that part of the regulation.
Meanwhile, the main contractor, GNM Project Limited, site foreman, attributes the delay to delayed funding.
We are waiting for the funds, which is money, to finish the remaining jobs.
Reporting for Zanis in Solwezi District, Jennifer Mutoshi.
We wrap up the news on a sporting note. 2 Tanzania-Zambia Railway Authority Tazara-owned football clubs based in Kapirimposhi and Mpika districts have received football kit and equipment boost from a private railway logistics company that has assumed their sponsorship. Tazara Express and Tazara Rangers, both Division 2 sides, have received kit comprising full attire of sets of jerseys, boots, tracksuits, sneakers and footballs at a ceremony where outstanding players in the 2022 football season were also awarded.
To enhance team performance, a railway logistics company has procured football equipment worth over 120,000 kwacha for Tazara Express and Tazara Rangers, 2 Tanzania-Zambia Railway Authority-owned football clubs based in Kapirimposhi and Mpika districts, respectively. Calabash Freight Limited has also committed to be providing 20,000 kwacha quarterly funding to Tazara Express football team for operational costs in fulfillment of the sponsorship package to the Division 2 outfit.
When Tazara approached us for a partnership in the sponsorship of some of the sports teams, we did not hesitate to take up the challenge because we saw it as an opportunity not only add value to Tazara, but also to integrate ourselves with the Tazara community.
Kapirimposhi District Commissioner Francis Salama has received the kit on behalf of the clubs, with a call for them to up their game.
Kapiposh needs to have representation in the Premier League. And I believe that the gesture expeded through this sponsorship is sufficient to motivate us up to the ladder.
Tazara management is delighted with the gesture.
Kapiposh is home to the mighty Tazara Express Football Club. This team has a large following and is very, very popular here in Kapiposh. On the other hand, we also have two other football clubs, namely Tazara Rangers, based in Pika, and Tazara Blue Stars, based in Kasama. These football clubs came into being for the sole purpose of providing entertainment to the various communities.
During the kit handover ceremony, several players from the two clubs were awarded for exceptional performance in the 2022 football season. Carlos Wunda, Zanis, Kaprimposhi.
As we end the news, a recap of the headlines. Farmers appeal for speedy distribution of farming inputs. DMMU rehabilitates health post. Poor workmanship at Solwezi Stadium ex-NCC. Plus anthrax breaks out in Kazungula district. That's all we had for you. Thank you for being with us. On behalf of the production team, this has been Mwangala Kapandola. Bye-bye.